When life hits you hardest, it doesn't just knock you down. It reveals who you truly are beneath all those comfortable lies you've been telling yourself. The job you thought defined you vanishes. Relationships crumble unexpectedly. Or maybe that deep sense of purpose you once felt slowly fades into nothingness. These aren't punishments, they're wake-up calls. Stoicism teaches us that pain isn't something to run from. It's something we must lean into, embrace and master if we want to become genuinely resilient. Today, we're diving into the powerful truths Stoics have known for centuries, truths that will change how you view suffering, setbacks, and what it means to rebuild from the ground up. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for every moment. There's wisdom here that can transform your darkest hour into your greatest strength. If you're finding value in what we're creating here, there's a simple, free way you can show appreciation. Just hit that subscribe button. Now, let's get into it. Rule 1. Accept reality, even when it breaks you. Facing the reality of our circumstances is often far more challenging than we anticipate. The initial shock of a devastating event can feel like a knockout punch to our lives, leaving us reeling on the edge of despair. It's at this critical juncture that we encounter a pivotal choice: to resist the reality of our situation or to embrace it fully. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of resilience and emotional fortitude, offers a powerful approach in these moments. As the philosopher Epictetus profoundly stated, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This isn't just a call to stoic endurance, it's an invitation to a transformative engagement with life. When we hit what seems like rock bottom, it's easy to believe that this is the end of our story. Yet, what if it's actually a beginning? What if the very pain and disruption we're experiencing are clearing the ground for new growth? Pain, after all, shatters illusions. It strips away the veneer of our supposed stability and forces us to confront the raw and unvarnished truth of our present circumstances. This can be a profound gift, if we allow it to be. Pain demands that we stop pretending that everything is okay, that we stop clinging to outdated dreams or unviable plans that no longer serve us. Consider how much of your suffering is truly caused by the event itself, and how much is from your resistance to accepting it. Resistance often prolongs our pain. It keeps us locked in a cycle of denial and despair, unable to move forward. But acceptance, that's a form of empowerment. It means seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be, and deciding to engage with them from a place of strength and clarity. Acceptance does not mean liking the situation, nor does it mean passivity. Instead, it's a conscious choice to acknowledge reality without letting it dictate your state of being. It's saying to yourself, I see this for what it is. I don't like it, but I'll face it. This moment of acceptance is where healing begins, because it marks the end of your struggle against the unchangeable and redirects your energy towards productive change. Yet the path of acceptance is often met with an initial desire to escape, to not feel. It's a natural reaction to seek out comfort or distractions that numb the pain. Whether it's losing ourselves in work, indulging in excess, or scrolling through social media for hours, these are all ways we try to avoid dealing with our reality. Carl Jung, a pioneer in psychology, highlighted the danger of such avoidance, stating, "Neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering." This implies that the discomfort we dodge does not disappear, but manifests in other, often more harmful ways. By avoiding legitimate suffering, we trade short-term comfort for long-term dysfunction. So, how do we embrace this stoic approach? By choosing to stay present with our pain, to learn from it, and to let it guide us towards a more authentic and resilient version of ourselves. It's about using the insights gained from our difficulties to reconstruct our lives on a foundation of truth and awareness. When we do this, we honor our struggles not as endpoints, but as catalysts for profound personal growth and transformation. Embracing reality, especially when it breaks you, is no easy feat. It requires courage, determination, and the willingness to see beyond the immediate pain. But the rewards are substantial. It offers a pathway out of the chaos of unexpected changes and leads towards a life marked by depth, meaning, and true resilience. Remember, it's not the absence of obstacles that defines our lives, but how we choose to respond to them. Each moment of acceptance is a step towards not just surviving, but thriving. Rule 2. Don't escape the pain, use it. Turning away from our pain seems like the natural course of action, the default emergency response for self-preservation. Yet this instinct, while understandable, is often what keeps us locked in cycles of suffering and denial. You see, in the midst of upheaval, when the job is gone, the relationship ends, or when we're faced with a personal loss, it's tempting to reach for whatever can momentarily distract us from our distress. This is where the Stoic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius comes to light, reminding us that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This notion isn't about dismissing your pain or pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about confronting it head-on. Why? Because within that pain lies crucial insights into what truly matters to us. It shows us our raw values, stripped of pretense and facade. Pain, in its most unfiltered form, communicates deeply about where our priorities lie and what we need to address in our lives. This isn't just a philosophical ideal, but a practical strategy for emotional growth. Carl Jung once noted, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Hence, avoiding pain doesn't alleviate it. It often deepens it, much like drinking salt water to quench an intense thirst. Imagine for a moment that you're sitting with that pain, not running, not numbing, just observing. It might initially feel overwhelming. You might encounter a tumult of emotions, grief, anger, confusion. Yet, each emotion is a messenger, a guide that, if listened to, can help recalibrate your path forward. When you start to process these emotions, you're doing the work of building a new self, one that understands its depths, its resilience, and its true needs. Stoicism teaches us the value of turning obstacles into opportunities. The pain that initially seems to be your greatest enemy can become your most profound teacher. This is the time to lean into the discomfort, to explore the contours of your anguish and extract from it the lessons it holds. It's a process of transformation where, from the ashes of your old expectations and dreams, a clearer, more focused individual can emerge. So, when the chaos of emotions starts to surge, remember that this too is part of the journey. It's not about suppressing or conquering your feelings, but about understanding them, managing them with wisdom, and transforming them into steps toward a better, more enlightened self. This approach doesn't just patch up old wounds, it redefines them. It turns scars into stories and past pain into progress. In embracing your pain, you are not merely surviving, you are reshaping your life's narrative from one of victimhood to one of heroism. You are not just getting through something, you are growing through it. This active engagement with your inner turmoil is not for the faint of heart, but it is for anyone who seeks genuine peace and not just the absence of conflict. By facing your suffering directly, you harness its transformative power and pave the way for genuine renewal and revitalization. This isn't merely survival, it's about thriving in the truest sense. Rule 3. Don't trust the first emotion that hits you. Emotions can surge like a tempest, fierce and commanding in the moments when life's fabric seems to unravel. One minute your world is steady, the next, it's as if the ground beneath you has given way. In these times of sudden turmoil, our initial reactions can be potent and overwhelming, driven by the rawest of our feelings. Yet, it is precisely in these moments that Stoic philosophy urges a counterintuitive strength, the strength not to act immediately on what we feel. The wisdom of the Stoics, echoed by philosophers like Seneca, who claimed, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself," encourages us not just to face our struggles, but to use them as a forge for our character. But here's the crucial part. Proving oneself doesn't mean succumbing to every emotional impulse. It means developing the capacity to manage these impulses, to question them, to understand their origins before allowing them to dictate our actions. Imagine the initial emotions that hit us in moments of crisis as the first drops of rain in a storm. They signal what's coming, but they are not the storm itself. They are messengers, and while they can be harbingers of necessary actions, they are not in themselves mandates to act. Carl Jung, a proponent of diving deep into the psyche's murky waters, advised that emotion is not opposed to reason, but to chaos. It's in recognizing this that you find true emotional mastery. It's not about bottling up or denying what you feel, but rather acknowledging your emotions without letting them cloud your judgment. This Stoic restraint is not suppression, it's intelligent regulation. When you feel anger, acknowledge it, explore it even, without letting it spill over into words or actions you might later regret. When sadness envelops you, allow yourself to experience the depth of your feeling, but remind yourself that you are not defined by this sadness. It is a part of your current experience, not the entirety of it. In that critical pause, where you hold your reactions just long enough to examine them, you gain something invaluable: clarity. It's within this clarity that you begin to see not just the nature of your emotions, but also the potential traps they can lay. For in the grip of unchecked emotion, the world can indeed begin to shrink. Your personal pain can seem like the universe's only agenda, isolating you in a prison of your own perspective. However, by exercising Stoic wisdom, by questioning and regulating your immediate impulses, you open up a broader vista. You realize that your pain, while profound, is but one thread in the vast human tapestry. This realization is freeing and humbling. It connects you to the collective human experience, a realization that you are not alone in your struggles. By not trusting every initial emotional surge, you do more than protect yourself from rash decisions. You expand your understanding of yourself and your place in the world. You learn that every emotion is an opportunity not just to react, but to grow, to learn, and to integrate into the greater whole of your life's journey. This integration is what Carl Jung might call the process towards individuation, a fully realized self that is as wise in emotion as it is in reason. By mastering this Stoic rule, you don't just navigate your life more smoothly, you chart a course with a compass calibrated by wisdom, reason, and a profound connection to the human condition. This is the essence of true resilience and authentic living, where each emotional experience, however challenging, contributes to a more nuanced and complete understanding of oneself and the world. Rule 4. Stop making it all about you. It's easy to become captivated by our own suffering, to fall into the narrative that our pain is unique and incomprehensible to others. This inward focus can be intensely isolating, wrapping us in a cocoon of self-pity and despair. But Stoicism, with its profound psychological insights, encourages us to adopt a broader perspective. The philosophy invites us to step back and consider a more expansive view, reminding us of a timeless truth. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. This isn't to diminish the significance of personal pain, but to place it in a wider context. When we obsess over our struggles, viewing them through a microscope, every issue appears larger than life. Every setback seems insurmountable. However, by adopting the Stoic practice of zooming out and looking at our lives as part of a greater whole, we begin to see our experiences not as singular catastrophic events, but as threads in the rich tapestry of human experience. This shift in perspective is not just about reducing the weight of our own problems, but about recognizing our shared human condition. Pain, as Carl Jung pointed out, is a crucial aspect of personal development. He famously said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Our personal trials, while challenging, are also opportunities for growth and understanding. They connect us with the collective struggles and triumphs of humanity. When we understand that suffering is a universal part of the human experience, our own pain feels less like an anomaly and more like a bridge connecting us to others. This realization can lead us to engage more fully with the world around us. Instead of dwelling solely on our misfortunes, we can turn our attention outward. Engaging in activities like reading philosophy, volunteering, creating art, or learning new skills doesn't just distract us from our troubles. It enriches our lives and connects us with the larger human story. These activities remind us that we are part of a society, a history, a flow of human endeavor that stretches beyond our individual lives. Moreover, this outward focus helps us combat the toxic habit of comparison, the kind of comparison that sours into resentment and bitterness when we look at others who seem happier, more successful, or less burdened. Instead of envying others, understanding our place in the larger narrative of life encourages us to find lessons and inspiration in the stories of those who have also faced and overcome adversity. In practice, this Stoic lesson urges us to consider our role in the community and the impact we can have on others. It shifts our focus from what we are enduring to what we can contribute. This can be profoundly liberating. It helps lift the veil of isolation that suffering often draws around us, revealing a world brimming with possibilities, connections, and new beginnings. When we stop making our narrative all about our suffering, we open ourselves up to a richer, more diverse life story. We move from being passive recipients of our fates to active participants in a shared journey. This doesn't just diminish our pain, it transforms it into a tool for connection and transformation. By aligning our personal stories with the broader human experience, we find that our individual pains, while significant, are also pathways to deeper empathy, understanding, and engagement with the world. This is the essence of living not as solitary sufferers, but as integrated members of a resilient, evolving community. Rule 5. Never let jealousy infect your heart. In the aftermath of disruption, when our lives seem to be falling apart, it's incredibly common to look around and compare our struggles with the apparent successes of others. Observing someone else's seemingly perfect circumstances while we deal with chaos can ignite a sense of injustice. Why them? Why now? Why not me? These questions can haunt us, leading to a spiral of bitterness and envy that does nothing but further damage our spirit. However, this mindset, as the Stoics have taught us, is akin to poison. It corrodes not just our potential for happiness, but our very capacity for recovery and growth. Stoicism, with its profound insights into human nature, provides a potent antidote to the venom of jealousy: gratitude. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, offers wisdom that remains incredibly relevant today, asserting, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." This powerful idea underscores the destructive nature of envy and the liberating power of gratitude. By fixating on what others have and what we perceive ourselves as lacking, we lose sight of what we actually possess. Each of us, no matter our circumstances, has something of value: our breath, our capacity to think, to dream, to strive. These are not trivial assets. They are the very essence of life and potential. Recognizing and appreciating these gifts is the first step toward rebuilding a life shattered by circumstance. The problem with envy is that it distorts our perspective, convincing us that we are lesser because our current storyline doesn't match someone else's highlight reel. But gratitude shifts this perspective. It doesn't just counterbalance envy, it transforms how we view our journey. Gratitude doesn't ignore the reality of pain or difficulty. Instead, it allows us to see them as part of a larger narrative of growth and recovery. It tells us that we're still participants in the race of life, not merely sidelined observers. This perspective shift is crucial because it refocuses our energy from coveting what others have to enhancing our own lives. Instead of resenting someone else's success, gratitude encourages us to draw inspiration from it, to see their achievements as signs of what's possible, and to use our own unique talents and resources to pursue our goals. In the words of Carl Jung, envy does not liberate, it binds. Gratitude, on the other hand, frees us from the chains of bitterness and allows us to see the abundance of our own lives. When you choose to replace envy with gratitude, you're not just altering your emotional state. You're fundamentally changing how you interact with the world. You move from a mindset of scarcity and competition to one of abundance and collaboration. This doesn't just heal your life, it expands it. You begin to engage more fully, not just to better your own situation, but also to contribute to the well-being of others. This is the essence of a life well lived, a life not defined by what you acquire, but by what you contribute. The path from a broken life to one of strength and authenticity isn't through wishing we had someone else's story. It's crafted by fully embracing our own, with all its imperfections and challenges. By layering the principles of Stoic wisdom, accepting reality, facing our pain, mastering our responses, looking beyond ourselves, and choosing gratitude, we don't just repair our lives. We rebuild them stronger and more resilient than before. As you navigate through the complexities of life, remember that the antidote to envy isn't merely to ignore the successes of others, but to celebrate them and to cherish your own journey with all its potential and promise. This is not just the way to overcome, it's the way to thrive. As we wrap up our discussion on Stoic principles, remember, these are not just philosophical ideas, but practical tools for navigating life's challenges. Each rule we've explored, whether it's embracing acceptance, harnessing pain, or transforming envy into gratitude, prepares you to not only face adversity, but to grow from it. Think of these principles as your guide through the storm, helping you emerge wiser and more resilient. If you found today's insights valuable, continue your journey with us by watching the next video recommended on your screen. Your engagement is what shapes Stoic Journal into a thriving community. Thank you for being with us, and remember, every challenge is an opportunity to learn and strengthen.